I'll just say it's a sad state of the world when you're like, I hope it was just a drug addict who broke in and stole all the stuff and sold it on the black market.
Yay, meth.
That'll be a good one out of context. I'm trying to do my best. Let me do my best Gordon here, the devil's advocate thing, right? How do you feel about uploading your identity to the internet?
That is the worst idea that humanity has literally ever had.
What if I told you need to do it to use the internet?
That is where we're headed.
Okay.
And that is very sad.
So, good idea or best idea?
It's an idea where if you explain it to, a citizen and a voter and you look around, it's like, imagine what the worst people in the world will do with knowledge of what you are saying. And it's like, I believe this. And it's like, oh, no, you're not allowed to think that. Let me re-educate you. And it's like, it seems like you're gaslighting me and I'm not allowed to think these things.
No, you just think you're being gaslit.
Yeah, see, exactly.
You're gaslighting me.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here.
But we need to build a database of everybody who has wrong think so that we can partition them away because they're holding us back.
How do you feel about George Orwell? You've used like about 3 references directly to his writing.
Yeah, it's coming to pass.
He's currently on the ground going, I was right. The slop is back. Micro Slop. We just restocked our Micro Slop t-shirt on store.gamersnexus.net, which has been one of our most popular shirt designs we've ever launched. The shirt features a Micro Slop logo with matching event viewer icons, a red X and yellow bane to symbolize every excellent experience you've ever had with Windows. And if those don't cover it, you can escalate to a blue screen of death frowny face. Of course, the next escalation is the obvious one, to Tux, the penguin, whom we've faithfully recreated on the shirt. We've had viewers tell us how they get compliments in the Microslop t-shirt, which must be because of how much everyone just loves Copilot and Recall. Grab yours today on store.gamersnexus.net to support our work directly while getting a quality, no AI slop shirt in return.
I would be completely fine with this if it was informed. If everybody, it's like the goal of democracy, and this goes back to Socrates and the Republic and from that era. It's like shadows on a cave kind of thing. Like it's like education. It's like lay bare the truth of what is happening. And it is horrifying, but that is okay, because if you are suitably horrified, you understand what's happening, and you can make the best decision about what we do next.
Yeah, but the problem is, as you're alluding to here, is that not only are people not informed enough on it, I think our audience probably is, but also services and tools have been monopolized to a point where you now basically have no choice. The PS5 is a great example. If they start requiring ID, like in the UK they're doing, to play video games, on one hand, people might look at that going, okay, it's video games. Like, I think a lot of people who aren't gamers are just like, what are you complaining about? It's games. Who cares? Grow up type of thing. Like, I think that's the reaction you get from sort of people outside the space. And the problem from within the space is also just you start to slowly strip away, in this case, entertainment or access to convenient services, like possibly email if you need to start verifying for that. So if we break down ID verification into a few key concerns, I think, for me, and you can add to this, there's identity theft and fraud.
Yes, we do not have the technology to manage the databases that are being created, as evidenced by literally anything in the modern world.
Yeah. And then abuse, corporate or attacker, I guess. So how could you use this information? Yeah, government. And then that's another one is government abuse and tracking. And then a sort of effective self-censorship where if people are becoming increasingly aware of their devices or services monitoring.
Chilling effect.
Yes, exactly, which is a thing on Wikipedia. You can look it up. So if there's a chilling effect where, probably a lot of people have been in a situation where you're talking to a friend and you're like, like on the phone. I don't know if I should say this on the phone. And the best example I have of something innocuous is there was an instance of someone playing either Counter-Strike a long time ago, Rainbow Six Siege, something like that, and they talked about killing people. you know?
Yeah.
And they're talking, it's in the game.
Yeah.
But this can lead to the FBI or the Secret Service being at your door very quickly.
I love the people that are already commenting like, oh, that's entirely theoretical. I would refer you to the case of the dude that was in college and he was in a private Discord with like 4 other people and he said, oh, I'm going to go get on the plane now, and he said something to the effect of explosives or whatever. That airplane had 2 fighter jet escorts because of a private conversation in Discord.
Yeah.
And there was no opportunity for parallel construction there, so the cat was out of the bag of like, wait a minute, Discord is monitoring this in private conversation, because it wasn't any of the other 3 people that were like, let me, create a headache for this person.
And I think a lot of times the way this stuff expands is it's easy to look at that and be like, well, but I want to be protected. I want to be safe. So if someone is talking about doing something horrible in a place that I'm going to be, I would prefer that law enforcement is there to stop that thing.
You look into places where law enforcement has failed with that over the years, have the technology.
Where have they failed with that?
Well, I can think of a really good one about 20 years ago, but we're not going to talk about that one. Where it's like you had the flight instructors calling the FBI to be like, "Hey, these guys, they're really weird. They don't want to practice landing. It's really weird."
Yeah.
We can't talk about that.
Where do we want to start with the concerns for ID verification? Because this is a growing problem. It's expanding. You were just talking about, in our other video, potentially needing to tie ID to Microsoft accounts, which a lot of people use now. Should we go down the rabbit hole of like what happens if internet service providers try to ease the acceptance of ID by saying you no longer need to give it to websites and game services to use them. Now you just give it to us, and we'll do all that authentication for you.
Yeah, the idea is to try and tie internet activity to an individual identity, but to make it at first as horrible and inconvenient as possible, and then secondarily layer on something that is like, oh, now we'll just do it in your device, in your technology, and that's pretty easy to do with a phone. Mm-hmm. The reality is that it's already here with a phone. A lot of your location data, a lot of your individual, like if you have your phone number and you plug in your phone number into a bunch of law enforcement databases, I think most American citizens would be shocked at the amount of information that is immediately available without a warrant. Just plug in a number, get some data. Mm-hmm. And you can actually watch a lot of police body cam videos. Like, this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, but you watch a lot of police body cam videos, and it is parallel construction. In the police office, like, why did you pull me over? Oh, your
taillight.
Yeah, your taillight's out, or your tint, your window tint. That's another big tell. There was an incident that was like kind of a local incident here, and it was if you watch the body cam video, it was parallel construction. It was a rideshare driver. The rideshare driver was just an innocent person. They got shot because the passenger that they picked up was wanted, and the systems were connected together well enough that they knew that from the surveillance apparatus.
Meaning that enforcement or agencies were aware that a wanted person had gotten into this Uber, I guess, or rideshare.
Yeah, and that put the rideshare driver in danger when they stopped him, and the person like fled, and I think they fled into a church or something.
Right.
But it was like, you watch the body cam video of that, and it's like, that's parallel construction.
Yeah, how did they connect these 2 dots, right?
Because it seemed like it was just, the driver was like, okay, here's my ID, and it's like, oh, we want to ID the passenger, and the passenger was like, no, you can't do that, and technically he's right. Like, that's not, they didn't do anything.
Right, they're not driving the car.
Right.
Yeah. So what, if we go down this, what's the
end goal? It's like, to protect the children, obviously.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, do I ask about the end goal, or do I ask how do we get there? What if let's start with maybe the most basic concern for all of this. I'm trying to do my best. Let me do my best Gordon here, the devil's advocate thing, right? So your complaint, Stephen Wendell, is that people don't want to upload their ID, but uploading the ID is to make them safe. Therefore, you don't want people to be safe.
I think that we as a society are not, on the whole, mature enough that the complete elimination of anonymity is going to make society better overall. I think that it makes the imbalance of people that have power, whether that is political or monetary or whatever, much more imbalanced than poorer people and people that have less power and less less ability to speak truth to power.
And less ability to fight if there is an abuse of the power over them.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I mean, look at, if you think that, it's like, oh, this sounds like, government tinfoil hat conspiracy. It's like, if you look at the FBI files that have been declassified time and time again, there has been systematic abuse.
Like the drug trials.
Drug trials like JFK, Martin Luther King, like there is a lot. Like you start peeling back the linoleum there, and it's like, oh, are we the baddies?
So where does this go? Because if right now the argument from actually multiple countries at this point, the UK, the US, and in Europe, there's some discussion of ID verification also. Right now, the argument is protect the children. Obviously, a noble and good goal. The way we're getting there is, I think my concern is creating that chilling effect, is potentially taking away freedom of speech or expression in some ways.
If the goal is protect the children, then the laws should be about building software that gives parental control to understand and do stuff with their children. I think Roblox, putting together all the children under 13 together doesn't necessarily address the fact that some of those children can be monsters.
Right.
And so do you give parents tools to see what their children are doing online, or do you do this as kind of a lip service to whatever?
Right.
And one of the things that really bothered me a lot is when I found out one of the lobbying groups for Protect the Children is funded largely by Meta.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. All right.
And so it's like, why would Meta fund this? And it's like, oh, Meta is coming under fire a lot for things their platform does to, it's like the algorithm and that sort of stuff.
Well, they also, on the cynical side, they probably also, so what you're saying, it sounds like, is liability is one reason, reducing liability. But another reason is it probably would be valuable for them to just once and for all, like, we've got a number of accounts where it's like, we think this isn't a real name, but a real person is definitely using it. And if we could just tie an ID to this account, that would be awesome for our advertisers.
Yeah.
And so there's maybe a financial incentive there too.
Set aside the ID part of it and also look at things like Equifax and your credit report.
Yeah.
And how much of your credit report factors into modern life. It's like you and I have both criticized the social credit score in other countries, and it's like, oh, that seems really dystopian. And then you look at like Equifax, and like not only does Equifax poorly maintain the database and the security, and
148 million users.
all the credit reporting agencies are just terrible at security and terrible at everything, but also super dystopian. Like, oh, this has, I bought a pack of bubble gum in 1986. This is insane. Like, why does it go back? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So imagine that with the fidelity of, all the way back to
everything you've ever said on the internet on any service and platform.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. People, so like I live in a poor area, and so like there are people that I know that, have been negatively impacted by the economic situation or whatever. And so like they get benefits, like SNAP benefits, things like that. But the surveillance has gotten so good that when they use like a SNAP credit card, it knows if some of the items they bought are ineligible. So like when they're at checkout, it's like, oh, I thought this was eligible, but it's not eligible because you can't buy like
cookies was one of the examples previously. Yeah.
And then, like previously those were okay, but now they're not.
Right.
But the system knows it's like you can't buy the cookie, so we're not going to have the credit card transaction go through. And it's like, I mean, on the credit card statement, it just shows me the amount. But
right.
somewhere
they have everything. I mean, on services like Stripe, also, right? You can look at individual transactions, and it'll know the IP address and all this stuff, and it'll show it to the merchant.
Yeah.
Like this was something I didn't know until I was working with basically a white hat security researcher on one of the stories we did previously, and it was the EK story, and the guy I was working with, fortunately, is a white hat security researcher, and when I paid him for the services at the end, I think we went through Stripe, and he was like, "Oh, this is interesting," and he sent me a screenshot of the transaction, and it was like name, the billing address for the credit card, which I didn't use anywhere, the IP address that the transaction came from. And you could see how all of this information, it's being harvested, and even that, it depending on who's on the other end of it, and it could be an attacker for an otherwise legitimate service, that's like a lot of potentially dangerous stuff for people to just have access to.
Yeah.
Because you could imagine a situation where you donate or pay something to someone who has bad intentions, like if white hat guy turns out to actually be black hat guy,
Yeah.
and now he has an IP address, like that's pretty valuable.
Well,
so.
I'll give you an example that is probably more of a worry for you than me,
Thanks.
but yeah, like another thing to keep you awake at night. Imagine that you are someone that does not actually have any skeletons in your closet, and yet you might be targeted for reasons because you're exposing truth to power, comfortable truth or whatever. And it's asymmetric warfare because this is a well-funded adversary, blah, blah, blah. Suppose that they are able to open a bank account in your name, not for the purposes of fraud, but for the purposes of building up an elaborate
bad acts history.
White collar kind of a thing.
Right.
And then once you ruffle enough feathers, then they go from white collar criminal stuff to something that maybe law enforcement would notice. And then there's all these details that kind of tie back to you for years that you were completely unaware of.
Right.
And so now you're distracted trying to deal with this insane thing that you have to do. And then maybe news comes out that's like, oh, look at all these transactions, blah. And it's like, that wasn't me. But it's like, well, it was in your hometown and this is connected to this. And how did you, and it's like,
and even on the most positive outcome of that, if it's like, it's just a distraction, that's still a big distraction. And the good news is I've never lost, for example, access or control over my passport or computer, and no one else has ever gained access to them. So, but also the good news is the only people who would have been aware of where I was when my stuff was stolen would be Facebook and Meta, because that's where the meeting conversation was happening. So
and even state level prosecutors don't understand this level of nuance or investigation, and law enforcement certainly doesn't. Law enforcement especially at the federal level, no longer understands this kind of subtlety and nuance. And so it's just do we just want to close the case, or do we want to get to the bottom of the matter?
I'll just say it's a sad state of the world when you're like, I hope it was just a drug addict who broke in and stole all the stuff and sold it on the black market.
Yay, meth!
That'll be a good one out of context.
But the crux of the problem here is, do we need the ability to have good truth to power speech on the internet while preserving some level of anonymity? Because the danger of people that have more time or more power or more money targeting folks that are trying to say intelligent, reasonable things to try to spin it out of the insanity, versus if the anonymity is completely gone, does that also mean that bots will be completely gone and that no one will be able to speak? And
that's
blah,
a good
blah, blah?
topic, because I think that's one of the other arguments for the social media platforms is tying an ID to a user means if we eventually move to require that, like on Reddit, then we can finally get rid of bots. The bot problem will be fixed.
Yes, in exactly the same way as Citizens United solved all the political problems.
Right.
It's funny, it goes back to, if you're going to do the thing, go all the way through with the thing and take the money out of it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it's...
No, we don't want to do that part.
Maybe it's a felony if you take money to post something in your name.
Right. Well, but money is speech and companies are people.
Yeah, Citizens United is it's the gift that keeps on giving.
So, I mean, even that, I had an ancient account that I hadn't used for anything, a forum account, recently where I received an email that was a password reset email. It was one of those there's nothing important on it, haven't used it in 10 plus years. But it was interesting to me because I was thinking, there's zero value on this account. I think it has no post history, and what I came to realize is one of the potential values of gaining access to accounts, we're talking about this with a criminal demand for user accounts, is not necessarily the information tied to the account or the person tied to the account, but the account age.
Yeah,
right?
And credibility.
Right,
yeah.
Because if you can get an old abandoned Reddit account, they moved on from Reddit, congratulations, did better things with your life. But they have a history that seems like it becomes valuable for bot posting, because a lot of the bots, the way they get banned is it's like account created 3 days ago, one post, and it's to cryptocurrency.
We're really fortunate because Elon Musk created the perfect
That is
study.
a bizarre sentence to start with. I'll let you finish.
He created the perfect microcosm for us to study exactly this effect when he took over Twitter, but with Twitter verification. And so it's like, Twitter verification. The promise was this is always going to be real people. They really have to fork over their $3 or $7 or whatever it is, and that's going to be a thing. If you look at it where it is now, there's a lot of Twitter check marks that are not real people, or they're controlled by an agency, or it's one of those things where it's like, wait a minute, I'm not talking or engaging with a real person here. This is a sock puppet, or this is someone that just doesn't have a reasonable opinion on this, and yet they seem to be...
Meaning it could be a bot, I guess.
Or, a paid something, and the engagement is higher because they are willing to pay, and so then that is the unlevel playing field that we talk about. And so, like, if the complete Google also thought this as like culturally, or their leadership was like, we have to end anonymity on the internet because they saw all the bad things that are coming, and I don't necessarily completely disagree with that if it is actually used to eliminate all the other bad things. But in the reality is, it's actually been used to amplify all of the other bad things. You can't, as a reasonable person, just say, I have questions about this. Let's talk frankly about this unfortunate or terrible situation, and let's talk about it with truth. And when you tell me something that is misleading or wrong, I can just say, this person is giving me misleading or wrong things, and it is tied back to an individual's identity. That does seem kind of utopian.
Yeah.
But we see time and time again when a platform implements something like this, like the checkmark thing promises to be real people, that it never actually is implemented that way.
It becomes dystopian instead.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if there's not a lot of calls to action for this stuff. I mean, most of the time it's not a vote. It's not a thing people can vote on. It's a thing that...
It's a knee-jerk, like, we got to save the children. And it's like, can parenting not save the children? Like, have we given up on parenting?
We don't want to do that. No. Yeah, this must be enforced through technological oligarchs. That's the only way.
I like also that the thing that we jump to is not, let's build, the ultimate Orwellian panopticon surveillance apparatus and foist it upon our children, because that would solve the problem as well. You no longer need age verification. It's like, if your child is going to a site that requires a 21 plus ID, you can have the conversation because you got an alert on your dashboard. Like, if we're going to get children comfortable with that level of surveillance, just do that. Just go straight there.
I mean, that's one of the things we keep kind of talking about is, my belief is you only need to get a generation or two deep into a change like this before the next one or two generations look at people like you and me, and it's a shut up, boomer. Why wouldn't, what are you worried about? You upload your ID for everything. That's just how you use the internet. Because if you grow up with it and that's how it is, then you can't even blame them if it's just like, well, since I was a kid, I've had to upload some form of identity to use the internet. So why are you complaining?
Yeah. The other real fun thing, like the other thing that this might lead to, again, is like the law enforcement aspect of it, and like prove you're already starting out on your back heel. Chip and pin bank cards. There have been a couple instances where chip and pin has failed for like edge cases, and so then you're on the back heel with the bank. It's like, this was a fraudulent transaction. How did this happen? It's like, I've got to insert my government issued ID into the smart card reader on my keyboard in order to do things on the internet.
Right.
That doesn't sound necessarily bad if it's only required for like banking or transactions or whatever. That's another layer of physical hardware security that's not even in a computer.
I think a lot of people, especially outside of our space, could even get on board with that. If it's like, let's just take all the money, like paying money out of it. If you go get your ID, your government ID or your bank card, and they're like, here's your card, and here's also the USB device that you plug in to buy stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And you socket your ID to buy stuff. I think for a lot of people who've had fraudulent transactions and aren't into technology, they might go, that seems not so bad.
That would be great if it's perfectly implemented.
Right.
But it is often, like, we should have something like that. Not necessarily tied to your ID. Maybe you could buy a chip card at Walmart or whatever.
Right.
But the reality is that then it becomes, there's not also legal protection to properly investigate when the technology goes wrong.
Also, all this stuff is vulnerable in some way or another.
Yeah.
So,
So like your bank, I remember there was an Office, I think it was Office Max. There was an Office Max, their point of sale system was compromised so thoroughly that the PIN numbers could be captured.
Jesus.
And it took 6 months going around and around with my bank because it was like, this is a fraudulent transaction. They used your PIN. Like
It was you.
It was you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, eventually when the news came out, the bank was like, all right, fine, whatever. But it was 6 months of like letters and like angriness to get it back. And with chip and PIN, it's like, oh, that's even more secure. And that's true. That is even more secure. But there are still edge cases, and you're still...
And it's even harder to prove your innocence.
You're unreasonably asking people. A great example of how this has gone catastrophically wrong and is met with administrative apathy are back to the people with SNAP cards. I'm pretty sure that the SNAP system has been compromised at a state or federal level because if you get a benefits card, you basically have to lock it immediately because people will steal the information off of it immediately.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah, I know someone who has used those cards in the past. And what I learned was they will freeze and then unfreeze it.
Yeah.
So like in the line
You
for
have
checkout,
to.
they unfreeze it.
Yeah. And sometimes that's not even, like there's a lot of horror stories on Reddit poverty finance. And that whole system seems like it is thoroughly compromised, and no one cares, it seems, because those are poor people.
Right. It's not the mega corporate donors who are affected. So,
Yeah. And a lot of the people that have those cards, like they need that for groceries, and it's like, what are they supposed to do? Like,
subscribe to Meta grocery service. Yeah.
And that is a preview of what we will all experience.
Is there a positive we can draw from this? Is there a place to point the energy or the discontent? Like the only thing I've thought of lately for this is New York, for example, has New York COSA is the name of the law, the bill. They're trying to pass a law to require ID verification to use internet services, where basically if you have a user account and if you can send a message on a platform, that classifies it as social media. So this includes World of Warcraft, for example.
Yeah.
And the goal of the bill is to require identity to use those services or a face scan. The only advice I've had for people is keep an eye out for and attend town halls or council meetings or things of that. Like if there's enough mass of angry people, sometimes the lawmakers do actually listen. But beyond that, I don't really have any. I mean, other than just like try not to upload your ID to websites.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it seems like the best solution is to really try to understand what are we trying to do, but also how are we trying to do it? Because what we're trying to do is so far disconnected from how it is actually being implemented that most people don't understand in a technical way. It's like the technical people are saying, we're heading into something that is a dangerous situation. And so education first is the fix, but that's not an easy fix. You just can't, you
can't snap your fingers and teach people. So
it is alarming though when you see millions and millions of dollars being spent on age verification, and no one is spending millions and millions of dollars on no age verification when it seems like the way that age verification would be implemented is not reasonable.
Yeah.
So it's like if the end goal is to keep children off of adult websites, there are a lot of other ways to do that other than that.
Making everyone else upload ID to individual private businesses.
And it's funny, like a lot of people aren't taking it seriously because it's like, well, that's not going to work. But then you look at what Utah is doing, and Utah is saying, it's like, oh, if you use a VPN, the company that allowed someone on a VPN to connect is now liable.
Yeah. Well, and that's where we get into like talking about, there's the Great Firewall, right? And VPN bans. And I'm starting to see a lot of parallels here. But I mean, I think also probably the best thing for normal end users to do is be informed and not just carelessly do face scans and upload IDs if you really don't need that website or service.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny though, where it's the more technical people, I think, who are more apprehensive or scared of this type of thing.
Because look at how wrong it can go.
Yeah, and I mean, even just like It reminds me of most doctors' offices now have web portals, right? And the last time I saw my GP, I remember he looked at the account and he was like, you know, it's funny, you're a tech guy, but you're my only patient not enrolled in the portal. And I was like,
that's on purpose.
There's a reason for that. I read the privacy policy.
Shiny Hunters is coming for your portal.
Yeah. I did tell him what the privacy policy said, and he went, well, that's not good. That's good. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So I guess, ID verification will be a continuing topic, I think. The big one that we didn't really even get into, and we don't need to go too deep on today, but is just will you need to tie an ID to even use an operating system? That was a big topic.
That's coming to the law as well. It's like you can't use the computation device unless, because the destructive potential is too much.
And that's like something that starts to feel like just pure control at that point of the populace, because it's like you can't have communication and capability, and like what if LLMs and AI in some capacity become like reasonably useful for individual operators, then I guess it seems like they would also want to kind of lock that down and restrict it, where it's like, no, we don't want you to have an LLM in your house.
Yeah.
It needs to be in the cloud.
Remember in Boston, there was the marathon bombing, and somebody happened to search pressure cookers inside some company, and they were escorted out by police. And so it's like,
And this person wasn't the
no,
attacker.
That was just somebody who happened to be. It's like, my mother-in-law asked me about pressure cookers, and it's like, that was resolved. But what if you were having a conversation with an LLM about that kind of thing?
You just happen to be at the same time.
Yeah, people don't realize. Well, I mean, how could he have known? Pressure cookers, like, that's insane.
Right.
But also, those encourage the same kind of hallucinations, which are sort of a problem with LLMs, in a much different and darker way. It's like, haha, the LLM hallucinated. It's like, here we have an investigator that doesn't understand, and the LLM is hallucinating, and it's like, look, I've connected all these dots together for you. And it's like, this is all circumstantial evidence. Have we lost our ability to brain?
Well, there was the police body cam video a while ago where someone was arrested because a casino AI identity system misidentified them as a banned player at the casino. And so the guy's innocent. The police arrest him, and in the process of doing so, the cop was talking with another cop, or the casino owner, saying like, well, they have this fancy AI verification system, and it seems to have, it's a 99% confidence that it's the guy. And it's like full faith in this system, right? So yes, it is.
That is also like, that is the kind of criminal negligence that everybody will have to endure from the ID system. And it is connected, I think, to the negligence that people on SNAP benefits are enduring from, because they shouldn't, like, you can't have an elderly person comprehend and deal with the lock-unlock. Like, there's stuff's just going to get stolen.
Right.
And there's nothing that's like, oh, it was stolen. It's like, yeah, we don't care.
Yeah. So the end result here is, sure, hope you're not overworked and exhausted all the time so you have extra energy to fight the system all the time.
Yeah, if we put this system into place, are we also going to spend the energy to make sure that it is executed fairly?
No.
No. See, like that's like I understand American exceptionalism as like that fierce independence and entrepreneurialism, and like, give me the tools to
make good things happen.
Yeah, carve out freedom for myself. And this doesn't feel like that at all.
No. Yeah. That's carving out freedom for, the corporations that run everything.
Yeah,
so
you are a walking wallet. We will extract the money that we need.
It's like the Steam sales meme with the guy walking in the door with the belt and the wallets on the floor. No. All right. On that high positive note, we do have other videos, so check those out. Otherwise, on Level 1 Techs, we'll have possibly some server stuff, and then we also did
more computer janitoring.
Yeah, so check that out. Thanks for joining, Wendell.
No, thanks for having me. It's all fun.
We'll see you all next time.
It's all fun and games until somebody has to plug their ID into a keyboard.
No.